Okay, hello. It's if you know me, my name's Cheryl. If you don't, then my name's Cheryl. It's still the same name. Anyway, I have promised to talk about what my daily routine is or regimen is for kind of trying to keep myself healthy in circumstances that I'm not sure how I feel about the whole COVID-19 thing. But one thing I do know is that inflammation in the body is something you want to try to avoid regardless of what's going on. And so there's certain things that I think of as a patient that has struggled with infectious disease that keep your body in, with lower inflammatory levels. And so that's kind of what I try to do. And so I take a number of things on a daily basis. I'm going to go through them. I'm not going to talk forever about them. So one of them is called Cran Rich. I hope to make a document with this stuff in it. And it's just Cran, C-R-A-N, and then Rich. It's cranberry capsules, 500 milligrams. I use the soft gels, and I take them twice a day now, although at one point I was taking them 3 times a day. I know they work. They overnight and by 48 hours stopped like nerve pain and urinary tract pain, which was just unreal. Obviously, if you've got kidney issues or anything like that, I'm not a physician, so this is me sharing my personal experience. Check with your physician or herbalist or whomever you go to for treatment. But that's one of the big things that I've used for months now, and I feel it's been a real godsend. Recently, my herbalist added in this Microbiome Labs Mega Sporobiotic. It's been a real game changer for me. I have to remember to take that. It has a number of different, you can look it up, but it has a number of different things in it that are not like traditional probiotics, which are like acidophilus. I'm trying to think of the ones that, there are 2 main ones, like acidophilus. Oh God. You just look up the 2 main probiotics people take. And those are often given to people who have candida or who want to prevent candida. And I have to tell you that I have not found things like that to be the most helpful for me. In fact, I've never taken a probiotic that worked, and not once. But this probiotic, my stomach's completely different. I'm able to eat. So I'm thinking that this is what caused that, because there's been no other changes at all except for that. So maybe look into that. I could go into what's in them, but honestly, I should probably remember acidophilus and those things better than I remember these. They're like Bacillus indicus, Bacillus. See, I can. A second. Yeah, just no. Look it up, because I'm gonna butcher these names. But I took a leap of faith, and it worked. It helped my gut problems. So that's another one that I'm gonna say yeah to. And your gut health is really important in terms of staying healthy. And then I take this. I'm not saying you have to, something that has honey in it, but this honey propolis throat spray. I'm trying to see who makes it. I got it at Natural Grocers, and they have chosen to write in cursive writing, which I despise because I cannot actually see it. I think it says something like Mickleberry on it. So anyway, if you go into Natural Grocers and ask somebody, they'll know what I'm talking about. So, it's like I said, it's honey propolis throat tincture. I use it a couple times a day, just squirt in the back of the mouth. And these are probably more important. I get them from Natural Healthy Concepts, and if you call their main line, you can get them there as well. They just require that you talk to somebody there first. So it's standard process, zinc, liver, chelate. Yep, it's an animal product, so if you're not into animal products, then don't do this. But I have not found other zinc products that I could tolerate. This is a food-based product, and it actually, I think my daughter told me it gives I think it's like 10 milligrams or, wait, hold on. I might have to have her look at it. I really don't like these tiny things. But anyway, I think it's like 10 milligrams. It's like basically almost 100% of the recommended daily allowance, just shy of it. I'm really careful with zinc, so I won't overdo that one unless there's some sort of like professional involved in it. And actually, I wouldn't do any more than 2 of these a day. I don't. I take 1 of them a day. It's helped me. It helped with eye issues that I was having, like a darkness problem in the dark. I was getting like freaking out, and I had found that I was like zinc deficient, and it also helped my stomach. And so, like nausea. But if you overdo it, then zinc can be really bad for you. I also take organically bound minerals from the same company. It's just like it sounds. And this really is true, so whole turmeric, not curcumin. I mean, you can take curcumin if you want, but I actually believe more in the whole food type of thing. So this is a whole, it's not just curcumin, which is isolated from turmeric. And I think that, oh God, it's Dr. Ashok Gupta recommended like an 1/8 or 1/4 teaspoon twice a day. Again, this is a blood thinner, so if you have issues or if you're on blood thinners or anything like that, make sure you check some of this. If you're eating it in food, it's not likely to be a problem. And so what I'm recommending is really food-based amounts, like what I'm talking about taking, what I tell my family about and stuff like that is just food-based amounts. If you're taking an 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric in food, that's probably not going to be that big of a deal, or a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric in food. I don't think that's that big of a deal. So what I do is I either measure it out, or if you just put it on your food, that's, a really easy way to do it. But you'll use capsules. I'm going to show you what I use. Forget the size of these capsules, but you can get these capsules at natural grocers as well. They come in bags. I might go grab the bag to show you. But I just make up a couple of them, and I'm just adding this today now. I haven't been doing it. My stomach had to kind of recover a little bit, but I'll probably take that as well. And, so I might take like 1 of those a couple times a day and just see how I do. I did not measure it. I just took a capsule that's not the smallest capsule. It's like the second size up. And I just packed it full of turmeric. Sometimes in Ayurvedic medicine, they put a little tiny bit of pepper in with that, just like black pepper. So when I say a little tiny bit, I really just do mean a little tiny bit. Don't use a whole lot of pepper, and it can kind of cause heartburn. So it can help to, from what I understand, it helps like turmeric do its thing. But turmeric on its own is anti-inflammatory. I actually didn't put pepper in that. I don't want to shake my balance too much. I've been doing pretty well. Vitamin D3, with all of us stuck inside, it's even more important. We're already in northern latitudes, which means that we don't get enough sun. If you're darker skinned, you have less vitamin D receptors. So if you're inside anyway, I have had severe vitamin D deficiency. It was so low that they told me it was like that of somebody who was much, much older, like in the 60s or something like that at one point. So I use Thorne's vitamin D with vitamin K in it. And I've found it to be a really easy thing to take. I take about 8 drops of it, and I forget how much that is, but I don't like to overdo it with stuff. So I'm not into mega dosing with, like vitamins. And vitamin D is a hormone. So, just keep that in mind. If you're getting some in, like, I'm trying to think what I was taking, like maybe 5,000 international units per day. And I think my herbalist, naturopathic physician told me at that time that was about tops. I actually kind of disagreed with him because the type of vitamin D I was taking wasn't the best. It was now. But with Thorne, I think he's probably right. And I probably take 2,000 or 3,000 international units a day of that. So, like I said, good quality vitamin D. Make sure it's vitamin D3. If you're using vitamin D2 or you're counting on milk that is pasteurized, homogenized milk in the United States, you're actually probably getting D2 unless you look and specifically get milk that has D3 added to it. There is milk that has D3 added to it. I don't use dairy products other than goat's milk, which I use in cheese. I'm not sure how much of a source of vitamin D that is, but I'm thinking about trying to get that from a local farm, goat farm, and it always makes me think of Joe Friday and Dragnet talking about the guy who moved to Ukiah. I know that's not important, but still, gotta throw that in there, a little bit of humor. I also take and added in selenium. Again, with just kind of going with the recommended daily allowance. 1 drop of this, I think, gives you maybe about 50% or something like that. So I just take a couple drops, although I have just been taking 1 drop a day. You can also get this from Brazil nuts. They have those in like places like Trader Joe's, but those actually only have like 50 micrograms of selenium in them. So if you do get it from there, you probably have to have 4 of them, and Brazil nuts are a little bit hard to eat like that. And I always soak my nuts to kind of unlock nutrition from them. So soaked nuts are, like soaked nuts and seeds, I think they're more healthy. And so, I just decided to add this on. It's a recommendation for healthy, it's healthy for women to take. And so I asked my doctor, Dr. Henry Fruhoff, what he thought. He tested it at me anyway and told me that this was really medicinal for me. So I take that a couple of drops per day, and so does my daughter. Sarah takes this stuff too, my daughter. And just trying to think. Obviously, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a big proponent of Lazarus Natural CBD oil. I don't think you need to be taking much more than a dropper full of this a day unless you've got some condition that really benefits from it. For what it's worth, when I start taking high amounts of CBD, I do get excessively tired. So, probably just 1 dropper full. When you're starting out, you can start at a 1/4 dropper full. Get the most out of the least dosage you can do on anything. And I agree with somebody, it's actually my brother-in-law, that said anything taken daily you could develop resistance in too, and it won't work as well. But this is a whole plant extract, so it's not like an isolate, so it's less likely to do that. If you're worried about that, get a different type of CBD oil too. I wish I could recommend one. I really can't, because I have run the gamut with CBD oil, including Charlotte's Web, which I think is way overpriced. And it's like $39.99, and it gives you 11 milligrams in the bottle I got. And the bottle I got was 30 milliliters. So I'm going to give you an example. This is 60 milliliters, and I paid like $28 for it. And it's on sale right now for me. But even if you get this without any discount, I think it's like, I don't know, like maybe it's like $70, or at one point it was like $100. This lasts a long time. At that time when I was buying stuff, I would have purchased and paid $100 for this type of a bottle, because I was paying $39 for half this size, and I had to take 4 dropperfuls, I think it was at least 4, to get to what's in one of these. It might have even been 8. And if that doesn't seem like a lot, it is. The bottle runs out really fast, so I would have to use like a dropper full of the Charlotte's Web, and it wouldn't do much for me. And so I kind of thought, well, CBD oil sort of works, but I can't afford it. So even if you can't get the discount rates at Lazarus Naturals, it's really well worth paying for this sort of product, I think, and using it for sleep and pain and health. I did a little bit of looking into it, and it seemed like there was at least one study that I saw. I thought it was in PubMed, but I'm not positive. I'll have to look it up. But they talked about the CBD receptors, and it looked like it could help immune function. For what it's worth, I have not been sick in months, and I don't think it's just from social isolation. I don't want to jinx that too much, though, so I'm going to stop right there. But like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot of good CBD oil out there. I did run into one guy in a market that sold it, and I think his stuff was good, so I might actually swap some of that off with his once in a while so I don't get into resistance. I also take Nutrimedix magnesium malate daily. I take 4 capsules. Not everyone's going to have to take 4 capsules, but for what it's worth, 2 capsules give you 50%. So 4 capsules are actually the daily requirement. My herbalist, Casey, believes that it's better to use like magnesium oil on the skin for absorption to get magnesium levels to rise. I wish I could do that, but it always makes my skin itch. And so I don't have very good luck with that. Plus, this helps me for like digestive stuff to kind of like keep my digestion normal and keep my intestines moving and stuff like that. So I used to take a whole lot more of this, but since I've been doing a lot of things like eating a lot of vegetables, I have not had that sort of problem. Also, when you take vitamin D, I didn't mention this before, but take that stuff in the morning. Obviously, if you're taking, anything like Synthroid, keep your, I don't know about vitamin D, but keep all minerals and stuff like that away from things like Synthroid. It's a thyroid hormone, but not that you're on that. But I take methylcoabalin, B12. It's made from Source Naturals. It has a lot in it. Okay, it's 1 milligram of that. A lot of the cheaper B12s are cyanocoabalin. I think that's how it's pronounced, and I don't know if it's not, you can correct me, but although it won't do any good, I'll still keep pronouncing it. I just call it cheap synthetic B12. It's not good for you. A lot of people in this country have what's called MTHFR deficiency. And it's a genetic deficiency, and I have it. It's a genetic problem. It's a deficiency caused by a genetic mutation. And I'm heterozygous in the 2 main ones they test for. And so that means anyone in my family is likely to have that same genetic problem. I'm not saying you have it for sure, but I'm saying you're more likely to have it. And a good bit of the population actually has this. I take 1/4 of a pill a day, sometimes half a pill of this, and I take it at the same time as I take my vitamin D. I wish I could take it at the same time as I take magnesium, but I can't. So I try to make sure that my diet is good right now. Just one more thing I wanted to talk about was this Vietnamese cinnamon, which you can get at the store. I think I got it at Fred Meyer, and I can't remember, like it's Frontier, I think I got it. It's organic and not irradiated. And you can get it in a lot of bulk areas. I think Natural Grocers probably sells something like this. Don't get the other type of cinnamon. I think it's called like cassia cinnamon. That stuff is toxic. It's used in Chinese herbalism, I think. But I don't think it's the best for you. I prefer Vietnamese cinnamon or Ceylon cinnamon, both of which you can get at the supermarket. I probably would take like maybe a capsule or half a capsule a couple times a day or 3 times a day. And I think this one kind of thins the blood too. So, if you're having any kind of problems where you're having blood thinners on board and stuff, that's when you want to really check with your doctor or you're worried about that. But I kind of think that most people who are like healthy or trying to recover from health, I have found these things to be helpful in small amounts. One of the things I don't have here is my fish oil that I take. I use organic Barlean's fish oil. I also get that at Natural Grocers. And I take about 3 or 4 of those a day. It varies. So, actually, she brought it. So this is a 250 soft gels. I forget. It's around $20 or something like that, isn't it? Give or take. 17 to 20. Yeah, you could get Nordic Naturals. It's probably about twice the cost, and it might be better. I think there's Full Spectrum down there, or Spectrum down there. Is a really good one. They tend to be made from like sardines and the smaller fish that are safer. So a lot of people will use salmon oil, but my ophthalmologist told me that he didn't recommend that. If you are a vegan or vegetarian, you could try organic flax oil. That worked wonders for my eyes. I have Sjogren's syndrome. I really don't like the word because I think it's related to my infectious disease. But after like weeks of taking flax oil, my eyes had like a tear film over them, and it's been great. You can get this without the capsule too, and I actually prefer that. I'm going to go back to taking it that way. So that's what I do, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about these. Just one more thing that is a preventative in my thing that I've been taking is Thunder Pearls from Classical Chinese Pearls by Heiner Fruhoff. So I'm in herbal therapy, so that's one of the things that was said to be a preventative. And then he has a treatment protocol as well, which I'm not going to cover here. But take it 2 of them twice a day. Sometimes I only take 1 dose of 2 pills, but I actually open the capsule and I eat it because these really taste like food. So, yeah, so that's a lot of information to take in, I know. But, you know, and then the only other thing that I could say that I do, if I get a sore throat or anything, even without getting a sore throat, I will push the garlic down. Like, basically, you take your knife and push against the garlic, and then, like, let it sit there. This is what I've started doing now, because then you get the allicin that's in it, which is the compound that's healthy. And I'll cut it up, and I'll either put it into a capsule, like you just saw with the other stuff, and I'll swallow that, or in my case, I've done that, but I've also just gone to the stove and put a little water on, and you know, boiled it, and then um, put chopped up garlic in it, and then I'll drink that. And for some reason, that has relieved my sore throat. I often will just eat raw garlic. I've been eating a lot of raw red onion, which has vitamin C in it. That's why those things are things that I'm eating. They're good for your body. And so, you know, think about incorporating as many vegetables as you can. If you're somebody who cannot eat vegetables, you may want to consider trying sprouting and growing microgreens. And so Sarah and I have started doing this, and we've got some green peas growing that are just, you know, about like this tall right now. So I don't know how far off they are from being usable, but we're just getting our go at microgreens. You can sprout things like broccoli. You can steam once you get them grown, you know, to the size, you know, I don't know, probably about that big. You can steam them just for just seconds, you know, because they've got that whole, they're goitrogens. Anything in the brassica family can affect the thyroid. So unless you're getting proper iodine, which is another reason why I take that organically bound minerals, is it has iodine in it. You want to make sure that you're cooking stuff in the brassica family to a degree. I mean, you want to kind of, like, the bigger it is, you're probably going to want to steam it to kind of counteract some of those goitrogens that are in the brassica family. Things like broccoli, cauliflower. I can't think of all of them, but they pretty much all have this really punchy, really good taste. But so I'm not too worried about it with microgreens, but that's another option for people who are having digestive upset. And I just wanted to mention one more thing that I'm not sure that I mentioned. I take 1/4 teaspoon of this camu powder twice a day, and I think that's roughly like 1,250 milligrams of vitamin C twice a day. And all I do is I just take this, I take a 1/4 teaspoon, I put it on water, and I down it. For me, I can do that. If you can't, again, with the capsules, some people just can't take vitamin C in food. You could try to put it into a smoothie. If the smoothie has enough punch to it, you're probably not going to notice vitamin C. I think I've done that before. So I hope this helps. I know it's excessively long, but hopefully you're able to take breaks and take in the information as you want. This last part is for my sister or for anybody else out there. I use PS phosphatidylserine 100 milligrams at bedtime to bring down, like, it's to help with stress. It brings down like your cortisol levels if you're worked up at night. And I use L-tryptophan 500 milligrams, just one of them. I'm not saying that is the cutoff dose. You can take more. I probably would take 1,000 milligrams max for myself. And then P5P, it's called Terry Naturally is the place, and I can't remember where. I think we're getting this at the store. But basically it's an active vitamin B6, and actually it has a little bit of magnesium and zinc in it as well. And that might be why I keep my zinc down. Yeah, because it's got a little bit, like 30-something% of the recommended daily allowance, and just a little bit of magnesium. Anyway, this combined with these two things, and I don't always do it, and I wouldn't recommend it unless you try it out on the weekend. Like a capsule, maybe 500 milligrams, just kind of get like the second size capsule up and stuff some ashwagandha in there until it looks pretty full. Those things all work in tandem to help you sleep better, and they help with, like, the L-tryptophan is the precursor to things like neurotransmitters in the brain, like serotonin, and so it's an alternative to things like Prozac. And I just don't take antidepressants anymore. I actually don't think they're very good for me. And I haven't taken them for years. So anyway, that's what I do. And if that doesn't work, you could always get an organic bottle of Pacific Redwood wine. I'm actually kidding, but you know, anyway, it doesn't ever hurt to do that. If you are going to drink, have food first and have a normal glass of wine, just like 5 ounces max, and just, you know, have it with food. It's really makes a difference. Anyway, thanks for joining me today and reminding me that I need to take the supplements that I was talking about. Bye-bye.